on this tripod thing.
Okay.
Tell me if it destroys my audio, because does that hurt my audio?
No, you're good.
All right, good deal. So, guys, as you can tell, we got Brandon back here with us, Mr. Brandon Armstrong. How are you doing, buddy?
I am doing great. Fantastic. How are you doing tonight?
I can't complain. Can't complain. Uh, did some college work today. You know how that goes.
Yep.
Did some other legality stuff today. So, just another day in paradise.
Exactly.
So before we get started on the mainstream here, which has got to do with Jennifer Crumbley on trial versus the fact that sometimes parents are held responsible. And we'll talk about that here in a few minutes. But just to give you a little bit of a brush up, little news breaker, a little eye opener on the previous case we was talking about, which was with I always get her name messed up.
Gypsy Rose.
Yeah, Gypsy Rose. Apparently, and y'all can do some research on this. I did not do any research on this yet, but apparently from some videos that's been put out there, Rose is married to her family member.
Oh my God. Yeah, that's shocker.
Now take that one and run with it however you wish. But just to give you guys a little bit of a update on that. So, and at this point, I don't even know what to say on that case anymore, because I think there was a lot of red tape that was moved out the way for somebody, and I believe somebody got off scot free.
Somebody definitely benefited from it. That's for sure.
Oh, there was definitely some benefits that someone benefited from that. Hold on, I'm gonna step over here away from the camera for 1 second.
Boy, that gives the new definition of the words "friends with benefits," right?
The interesting thing to me though is this new thing being put out there about being a family member. Like, how does that happen? How do you meet somebody from prison or online and it be your family member?
That just seems bizarre.
It does. Anyways, y'all got questions on that? Feel free to throw it in the chat, but let's try not to focus on that too much, because I don't have a lot of new information on it. Because the bottom line is this: she's already been charged. She already went to prison. She was released on parole, and it was all done legitly through the legality steps that you go through to be let out of prison early.
Yeah.
Parole. So no matter how anybody feels, she'll never be charged for that crime again. You can't do it, and anybody should know what that's called. You cannot charge somebody for a crime that they've already committed and been charged for. There's a certain word for it, and
it's called double jeopardy.
Yeah, jeopardy. So no double jeopardy, folks. Now let's move on to the cheesecake of the live stream tonight. After I get a drink of my coffee, Jennifer Crumbley being on trial, and things are just it's a very interesting case. A lot of us are parents. Now there's a lot of people out there that are not parents. And to be honest, if you're not a parent, there's going to be a part of it that can't be understandable, because you just don't know until you've been a parent to understand what it means, about some of the responsibilities and the things that we go through as a parent. Now, you can have an understanding, but you can't fully understand it until you are an actual parent, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, with that said, let me throw off the top. This is what I think, right off the top, and we'll get into. We'll open the bag of fries and we'll get into it. I think, from a legal perspective, that if I were the prosecutor, that I would be doing the same exact steps.
Yep.
They've retrieved over 2,000 messages. There was a message sent from Jennifer to her son. Don't do it.
Yep.
That's right, folks. You can't make up a message like that. Okay? She sent the message and said, don't do it. Before that, she was asking, are you okay? Now, the weird thing was, when she asked him if he was okay, he said, yeah, I'm okay. I love you. Okay. Now, once they found out about the shooting, the father calls the police station after the shooting takes place and says, I think our son took the handgun out of the house. The gun's missing, the bullets are missing. So let me throw something else on that too, Brent. If I have a son that is going through being depressed, being unstable, hearing voices, and all this other stuff, those guns are getting locked away somewhere that he definitely cannot have access to.
Oh, definitely. I wonder why
And why do you
they.
buy a little kid a pistol?
Well, not just one. Why do you buy them two?
Now, I'm not one of them that's against handguns, go off the deep end about it, because there is a large gray area that people seem to overlook, because Brandon was going through a bunch of being, if he was depressed and if he was suicidal and if he had a history of domestic violence or battery or assault, what's any different that he could go out there and jump in a car and drive it through the side of somebody's house?
Yep.
That don't make cars bad, does it?
No.
I think that, kind of sidewinding here a little, but I think when it comes to the whole gun thing, I think that if you have a history, you should go through a lot of different tests, psychological tests,
Mm-hmm.
to make sure that you're capable of owning one, of owning a handgun. That didn't happen with him. I You find out about the father, is he facing the same charges, Brandon?
Yes, they're both actually facing the same charges: involuntary manslaughter.
Another question: do they have any kids besides the one?
I don't believe they do. No, I could be wrong about that, but I don't believe they do.
Let's see. Hey Google, how many kids does Jennifer Crumbley have? Oh, shut up.
Let me try. Computer, how many kids does Jennifer Crumbley have? Okay, I don't know if that's the right one, because it said she had three: a Lucy, a Logan, and somebody else.
Appreciate you being here watching the live stream. So, I feel sorry for the other children because they're going to be without their parents for a very long time. A very, very long time. Probably the rest of their life. They'll probably never see their parents step outside of a prison. But
Mm-mm.
that's, that's a tough, that's a brick to bite. But, you know, I don't understand either. They went to the school. The counselor said, "Look, your son needs a psychiatrist, and he needs it now, not later,
Yes,
tomorrow, not next week, but he needs it now."
today.
They refused and said, "No, we got to work." So work is clearly more important than the safety of your child and the safety of the rest of people. I mean, come on.
Not just work. I don't know if you saw the other messages, Johnny, but there was a message that they had read out in court where after he had gotten this gun, his mom posted a Facebook post saying, quote, testing out my son's new Xmas present. Never shot a 9mm.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
I, man, I'm telling you, I don't understand. The boy, clearly, he's far from being stable. Now, I think that they're gonna do a lot of tests with him to find out what really is going on in his head. But if he is mentally unstable and he has serious mental conditions because of being depressed and all that,
Which I believe he does because of all the video evidence that was in his
yeah,
trial.
and if that's the case, then he needs help. He's sick.
Mm-hmm.
There's a difference being sick and not being sick and doing a shooting. Don't make it right either way. But I think instead of him just going, prison, he needs to go to the right place where he's going to need to seek extensive mental therapy. And then from that point, he would go to prison.
Yeah.
He'll never walk outside of the prison again. That'd never happen.
And I got to say, for this court case with Jennifer Crumbley, the defense is ridiculous. She was going to get her son to come up there and she was going to make him look like a liar. And she literally said in court a couple of days ago, well, if I can't get Ethan Crumbley up here, then I don't have a defense. She literally said that.
What was their What was their motion on her getting him up there? She
Yeah,
can't.
she can't get him up there. They won't let him
Why?
because she's basically wanting to make him look like a liar and basically let the mom walk.
Wow.
And I don't like the judge in this case much either because she's too soft. She's babying the defense attorney pretty much. She's not really coming down on her like she should be, in my opinion.
Yeah, that's God. I don't know that she's a very old attorney, and I don't know how new she is, but she seems pretty new and unfamiliar with things. She seems nervous.
No, she's a seasoned lawyer. She's been in the Michigan bar and worked as a prosecutor.
One that's well, I know she's been in, but what I'm saying, I think she's nervous. I think this case has her very nervous because she continues to apologize. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Will you
Oh,
stop?
are you talking about are you talking about the Shannon Smith?
Yeah, I'm talking about the other lady.
Yeah, Shannon Smith. That's
Yeah, I'm talking about Shannon Smith.
well, she's kind of scattered anyway, because like she defended Larry Nasser in 2017, which, by the way, she lost that case too. So
What's the difference between when someone goes and gets their bar license and they really know what they're doing, between someone that gets their license and they just kind of work their way through it?
mm-hmm.
Big difference. So, Brandon,
But
if you was a prosecutor, now you got to look at this from the fair perspective, not on just that one statement. Don't do it. Okay, you got to look at everything as a prosecutor, and that's hard to do. Would you charge her differently?
given all the texts and everything else that have come out, probably not. But again, I'm not in that position as a prosecutor to make those
No,
decisions.
I'm just saying. What do you think, that she needs to be in prison for life, or because here's what we got to remember: she didn't pull the trigger,
No, she didn't.
and she wasn't there with him when he did it. And guys, I'm not saying that she needs to be free. I'm not saying that. I'm just giving an open view from both sides to try to help people get a really clear view of, to kind of even the odds on the feelings here. Um,
But here's the thing, though: like, the guns were easily accessible to him. They weren't even locked in a case. They were in a drawer in the house.
Now that, I mean, they definitely need to go to prison for a while, for no matter what. Um, you don't give your 14-year-old son pistols. You don't give a 14-year-old son that's depressed any firearm. Now, I know that there's been people in my past that were teenagers and they got rifles for Christmas, but they used them the way it was supposed to be when they went
Mm-hmm.
with their father. And that was it. But target shooting, I mean, come on. I don't agree with none of that. Now, I'll tell you what, this is my true opinion from a legal stance. I know Brandon loves when I do this. If it was up to me and the evidence showed that she knew this was going to be or could be a problem, that'd be enough for me to say you might as well have pulled the trigger. It's it's no different, Brandon, than you being drunk
Right.
and me throwing my keys on the table and you and say you better not grab them keys, leave them alone,
Right.
or you consider that you're probably going to grab them. I don't think she's. I think she's where she needs to be right now, and I think they need to figure out what is the fair charge here and what is the fair sentence. Because for them to do nothing, it'd be completely unfair to the victims of this nightmare that took place.
Well, that's what I'm saying too. Like, I like for her defense, like her defense attorney, that this is what I was going to earlier. Like, this judge that's in this courtroom doesn't seem to understand, like, or know what she's doing, because like when they were talking about, oh, should we cut off filming, or things like that. She's like, well, I don't know. Like, can I do that? Like, she acts like she doesn't know how to run her courtroom. And every time that Shannon Smith says something absurd or does something ridiculous, like she's not acting like a normal judge would. Like, she
Stop.
doesn't correct her. She doesn't
Right.
say stop.
Right.
Like, I know for a fact if it was you running a courtroom and she did some of this bizarre stuff, you wouldn't let it happen. You'd stop her in her tracks.
Yeah, that wouldn't happen.
I just don't understand why this judge isn't doing that. Is she intimidated by her? Is she afraid of her? What? I don't know what's
There's a
going
lot.
on.
There's a lot of things that I've seen go on with this case that I can tell you, Brandon. I would have not stood for in no way.
Mm-hmm.
I just and it just goes to show, every judge is different, and you can either have a good judge or you can have a hard judge, you can have a lenient judge, or you can have a dense judge or unintelligent,
I don't know what to call this judge. I honestly don't.
confused.
I just and honestly, I don't think she knows what.
I believe there's a lack of remorse.
Yeah,
I do believe that there's a huge lack of remorse coming from the judge too, because you're a judge. You should. I would hope that you've dealt with something similar in the past and could, you know, at least somewhat compare one case to another and say, it's another one of these cases, so this is what I'm going to do.
yeah. Like I said, she's just letting this Shannon Smith just intimidate her as a judge. I'm just like, you run this courtroom, do something.
Well, it's and it goes back to the one thing that says, end of the day, we're all human.
Mm-hmm.
Hold on, I had to. Okay. Um, get out of there. I don't want. I don't know. It's just one of them deals where I feel really bad for the victims of this case for sure,
Oh, I do too.
and I feel no remorse for the parents at all.
No, they knew. They honestly, if you take
I,
it as a whole,
the boy lost his best friend, and then turned around and his dog died. Now
yep,
some might be like, "Oh, big deal, it's just a dog." Let me tell you something. The relationship that you can put together between you and a dog is not just, oh well, it's just an animal. We've got pets in our house, and I'll tell you this: they're like family.
exactly.
They make us mad like family. They make us mad like our children sometimes. But at the end of the day, we have a bonding relationship with our pets.
Mm-hmm.
And what like when I lost Sarah, it was probably one of the most horrifying things to me in a very, very long time.
I remember that.
It was the
Eh,
first that I actually experienced losing one of my dogs. If you remember, when I first got my first guide dog, Pearl, I didn't have her whole life.
mm-hmm.
She went back and got adopted, which God knows she's. Let's see, Sarah was going on 13, so Pearl could still be alive. She'd be about 15 right now,
Yeah.
but it's hard. It's hard. When
It
I
is
love,
hard.
I'm not scared to tell anybody on this video right here. I cried and cried and cried. When I walked in the room when I first saw Sarah, I dropped to my knees. I mean, I didn't just bend down. I dropped in front of Sarah and I held
I
her.
I was even sad when you called me and told me that she had passed away because
We had a
I didn't get to physically meet her, but getting to know her through you, it just made me sad because she
yeah.
was very dedicated and very loyal.
Oh, she was so loyal to me. If if I wasn't in a room, she would have to follow.
Even when she had issues, when she was going through a lot of pain, when you would pull out licorice, she would try her best to get a piece of that licorice.
Remember when she couldn't walk that good?
Yeah.
She would she would lay on the other side of my desk and she would still do her best to get around to me to get that liquor.
Yep.
She loved licorice. Overall, she loved me because she was a dedicated best friend, a dedicated worker, a dedicated companion. And some might laugh, but it is a companionship.
It is.
So I, you know, I don't know the relationship that he had with his dog, but if he was that upset, I'm going to say he probably had a pretty good relationship with the dog.
I'm pretty sure he did too. I'm pretty sure that's what kept
And,
him.
you know, no excuse for what he did. He murdered 4 people, and there's no excuse for that. But on the other side of all of it, you feel sorry for him because you're finding out that he's got all these problems on in his life. A teenager should not have to live that way
You
with all
know,
the problems they do. They need support.
clearly the parents didn't support him because all the signs were right there. He even said on that math worksheet, "Help me."
He needed a best.
Mhm.
Folks, I can tell you when I was a kid, I didn't have that best friend that I should have had, and I'm referring to parents here. I luckily I did not go through being depressed and all that, but it's not a fun feeling to know that you might end up being put second instead of your child should always come.
Absolutely.
The whole gun thing that was just to keep me. That was just them trying to do something just so they deal with him, you know, misbehaving or throwing a fit because they wouldn't do it, so they just did it.
And I'm sorry, what parent calls their child weird?
Yeah, I just I don't know, guys. I would love to see. Let me see.
We don't have any messages.
No, we don't. I was looking at something else. Okay, that's just okay. Let me hit that. Don't want to. I don't know. This is what I think. I think that there needs to be a huge amount of responsibility put on parents, no matter what. At the end of the day, whether they're good parents or bad parents, if you're a parent, you're responsible. You are responsible until that child turns 18. You are responsible.
Mhm.
And Jennifer Crumbley, I got news for you. You have no idea what responsibility is. The only thing you know is how to make sure that you yourself come first. Not your child. Your child should have came first, and he didn't. And because of not being first, these are the results of it. So that's Jennifer and the dad. What was the dad's
James.
James? I say the
Oh,
same.
he'll be on trial next.
I say the same thing to James. You're an illegitimate person for what you did. Completely irresponsible. And I don't say something unless it's just how I feel. And Brandon, you know that. I don't
Yep.
I don't say something unless it is what it is. You all could have prevented this boy from taking 4 other people's lives. And you all could have prevented this boy from ruining his own life. He's 14. At 14 years old, you are not old enough to know fully what it means to be responsible. You're still learning, you're still growing, you're still applying things in your life. And if the only thing you're given is nothing but negative things to apply, then what are the results going to be?
I got to say, I'm fortunate. I've got a really good family. Like, if I were in a situation like that and I reached out and I said, "Hey, I'm depressed, help me," they would get me help. They wouldn't be like, "Oh, you're just weird, blah, 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 blah." That's what these parents should have done. Not, let's give our kid a gun to make him happy so we don't have to deal with the problem.
I, with your heart and soul, I think that the problem that we're running into today is parents have kids, and when they have the children, these kids are growing up into a new generation, and so these kids are behaving differently, and the parents have no idea what to do. Well, here's a
Well, part of the problem is parents are treating their kids like they're their best friend and not a parent. They're not telling them no, you know.
the thing is, you can treat your children like you can treat your child like your best friend. Still be able to give them the right discipline. Still hold on to that best friendship.
Right.
Because when you take care of your children the right way, first thing they're going to tell you is that their mom or their dad is their best friend. Because
Yep.
what's right, you're doing, and maybe you know, my son, he luckily, he grew up and became responsible, but he went through a bad spell.
Oh, I remember it.
What did I do, Brandon? Not like details, but still think you can answer it the right way. What did I do when my child, when my son did wrong? What did I do?
Yeah. Well, you you told him to take him to juvie and leave him there for a while.
And then even when I did that, my son was mad at me in the beginning. He was really, really mad at me. But you know what he does now? He respects me. He respects me like no other. He has respect for me. My son grew up the right way. You know, uh, um, just like, you know, Amanda. She's an outstanding parent, and it shows.
As a
Listen,
matter of fact, I got to weigh in on that whole thing with him anyway. I remember before you did that, you had talked to him several times and said, "Look, if you don't change, you will be going to jail for a while." and I will make it happen. And I remember he didn't believe you because he was like, well, you just don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah. The thing is, shows it shows when you're a good parent. Amanda, you know, uh, well, her kids, my kids too, but they all grew up good. They're all good kids, and
Mm-hmm.
they've turned into responsible parents. That is what they are. Why? Because you got to be responsible to get a kid to be responsible.
Yep.
Be responsible. Get your child when they become an adult to be responsible. If you're responsible, it pays off. It does. And
Exactly.
people can say whatever on that and say that, oh well, it's easier said than done. I know that it is. I know it's not easy, but there's something that I call hard love. Hard love goes a long ways, folks.
Yep.
You know, Jordan, he didn't get his way with me.
No.
When he called me, when my son called me, and it said such and such police department, you have a call from such and such police department, beep beep, whatever. I accepted the call, but whenever it came and said, "Dad, can you tell me out?" I'll tell you what I did at first. I laughed.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you know me enough to know that. I laughed.
Yep.
You think I'm bailing you out? Then you might as well hang up the phone, come up with a better discussion, and call me back.
Exactly.
I ain't bailing you out. You're going to learn from the mistakes that you make, and you're going to pay the price for the crime that you commit.
Mm-hmm.
And it paid off. It paid off. My son, all my children are they're good kids anymore, but I still call them kids. My kids, but
They're good, responsible adults.
and we all continue making. We all we'll make mistakes until the day we die. But there is a line to be drawn, and that
Mm-hmm.
crossed for Crumbley parents. They crossed the line. Shame on both of them if they say that the child crossed the line. You can crumble, James Crumble. You crossed the line because you are clearly not a responsible. Because if you was, you wouldn't have put work first when when it said your son guy. You should have said right off the bat, "Okay, we'll do it now." James, honey, call work and let them know we're not coming in. If you had done that, never been this nightmare, and the son would have not just life away.
Here's the thing, Jennifer Crumbley, like her employer today, testified that had she told her boss, hey, I need to go deal with my son's situation, he told her she could have done that. He
Yeah,
literally told the court she could have done that because she had no meetings that day.
yeah, yeah. You're right. But, friend, you ever heard that saying?
Hold on, I didn't hear that. Your audio cut out.
I'm making me copy. Have you ever heard that one saying that says you lead a horse to the water, but you can't make him drink it?
Yep, many times.
Well, there you go. I mean, I don't know, dude. I, I try really hard to understand. I try to understand what the parents might have. Maybe they just had a misunderstanding. But the only thing that comes to me is irresponsibility. Being irresponsible, right? Responsibility. Being irresponsible.
Yep.
So how long do you think this trial will last?
So, given the fact that Shannon Smith does ridiculous antics in the courtroom, it's going to last a while. I'd say about 2 to 3 weeks, if not longer.
Trial will be over. Today's Wednesday, correct?
No, Tuesday.
All right, so I think it will be over by not this Friday, not next Friday,
The Friday after.
but that following Wednesday. Here's the thing:
Yeah.
only bring so much to a trial, and eventually you put on trial.
Yep.
They're going to run out of get right.
Exactly.
I mean, if you got evidence, then get to it. If you don't, stop wasting my time.
I don't think the defense, her defense, I don't think they have a defense because Shannon Smith is clearly wasting the court's time and everybody else's time with her ridiculous way of cross, and I can't stand her voice.
Well, unfortunately, the voice ain't what that ain't
Yeah.
though. As bad as much as we have things about, I've had people where things they do would just drive me absolutely nuts. But at the end of the day, that's not what that's not what holds the water in the cup.
Right.
But I mean, I see what you're saying, but it's
No, because like you've heard some of the stuff. Like she had every sentence of hers is a question. It's like, can you not speak normally?
it's just like when every time she would say, "Hold on, uh, no objection,"
Yes.
and then she'd be like, "I'm sorry," and then he'd get ready talking to you, and she'd be like, I'm sorry."
I'm like, this
What
judge needs to do something about her. Like,
they're used
just
to lawyers saying no objection. That's part of it. You don't got to apologize,
yeah.
and you don't got to apologize when you say, "Hold on a minute." It's part of it that if you need 5 minutes to look over something, you don't need to apologize for that. That's just part of it. It goes into trial.
And
I mean,
this thing with this whole thing that she was objecting to with exhibits, like that
oh,
should have been done pre-trial.
well, yeah, but there's only so much you can object to on pre.
Yeah.
Like you can object on a pre-trial, but it's just a pre-trial. Your real objections come in when you get to the real when you get to the, what was it that what's that saying, the meat and potatoes.
Yeah, the meat and potatoes. Yep.
But she did have a lot of ridiculous objections.
I mean, did you hear the one she had today with the two photos that weren't even gruesome photos? Like she had an objection to them.
They were regular. There wasn't nothing bad about the photo.
Exactly my point.
I'm trying to remember what those were. It was
It was the one of them was the bathroom, and it showed the trash can where he put the
now
gun and some of the bullet holes in the shell casings.
the only thing that I am going to say that I thought was just bizarre, and I don't know why they continue to bring up, is about the damn horses. Who cares?
I don't understand that either.
Okay,
Like that has no
what does a horse
relevance.
with it? Well, the horse had a cold or was sick. Who
Who cares? How is that and that's another thing. I wish this judge would go in and step in and be like, how is this relevant to this case?
I will tell you that I'm glad what they didn't do is try to take the jury to the crime scene like they did with the shooting that took place in Florida.
Oh, I know.
I, I can't believe they actually did that.
I was shocked when they did that.
To go to that school and see. I mean, when they took the jury to that school, nothing had been cleaned up.
No, they preserved it. I was shocked. I was like, why would you do that?
I understand it. It gives the jury it really gets the jury motivated. But I'd have never. That would have never happened.
And it still gets me that even though they went to that crime scene, he still got life in prison.
I wish I knew who actually requested to take them to that school. If it was prosecution or if it was defense.
Yeah, I don't know. So I got to ask you, since you've heard this Shannon Smith's opening about Taylor Swift, what do you think her closing's going to be?
You probably, she's probably going to quote Bill Clinton.
Yeah, yeah, that
What?
would be like her.
Or George, who was it? George Bush? Was it?
George Bush.
That was not my stuff on her skirt.
Oh no, that was Bill Clinton.
Yeah, it was Bill Clinton. Crude. I don't believe it.
She's so bizarre. Like I don't
And
understand.
why she even quoted anybody? I don't. That doesn't make sense to me.
I could not believe she quoted that. I was sitting there laughing like, are you kidding me?
Next trial I go to, I'm going to quote you, Brandon.
Oh no. Don't do that.
I'm going to quote, "What the hell's the problem now?" And
Yes.
no sense at all. Sorry, folks, but I got to quote somebody here. I'm quoting Brandon Armstrong from Texas. What the hell's the problem now? Well, here's another daggam problem.
No, I believe if I remember it right, I think I said, oh great, well here's another effing problem.
Yeah, you say, oh, well, here's another fucking problem. So, yeah, I'd be like, I'm going to quote Brandon Armstrong on this jury, and here's another fucking problem. I am sick and tired of the fucking problems.
you, you, you do that, David would be like, have you lost your mind?
I'm telling you, I don't know, man. You know what? I guess the thing that I wonder the most is it's nighttime right now.
Mm-hmm.
Now I think this school's in Michigan, isn't it?
Yes.
Detroit? No,
No, Oxford.
Oxford. It's nighttime right now, and the mother and the father, I think they're in jail,
Yeah, I believe so.
and they're laying on them hard beds with a soft pillow and a government blanket. And you know what I wonder, Brandon?
What?
What the is going through their head?
I'm wondering that too.
Or, if I quote you, what the is a problem now?
Yeah, exactly.
I wonder though. It makes you wonder what parents like this are thinking. What are you thinking?
Yeah, it does make you wonder, doesn't it?
And the more that I think about this and I look at this from the perspective of the state, I think I do agree with why they're charging them for what they're charging them for.
Mm-hmm. I think they're doing a fantastic job with the prosecution side.
At the end of the day, it is your responsibility as a parent to raise your child to be a healthy, smart, safe, and at some point a mature adult. And if you fail to do that, and your child goes out and does something like this, and you know that there's something going to happen, and you do some of the stupidest things, buying these pistols and
Keeping them to where the child can get access to them and not even putting them in a case.
you deserve what you got coming, Jennifer Crumbley. And so do you, Mr. James Crumbley. I guess you should have thought about that a little bit more before you went out and just bought a handgun and said, "Here you go, son. Let's go do your target practice."
Couldn't agree more.
Where do you think it's going, Brendan?
As far as what?
In general, where do you think this is going to? Who do you think they're going to have on the stand tomorrow?
Probably more police officers. I don't know who they would have.
Are getting put back on the stand. At least that's what I heard from one source.
Oh,
Maybe
wow.
that they will have her back up there again.
Wow.
Maybe not. I think that Jennifer, her defense attorney, I believe at some point will put her up there and
Oh,
try to.
yeah. Her defense attorney is going to put her up there. She said as much the first day of trial.
Well, yeah, that's what everybody else is referring to, because what she's going to do now, maybe I'm wrong. She's going to call her up there, and she's going to ask her all these questions that will give answer to showing her to be a caring, generous, loving mother.
What I'm going to be interested in is when she does that, I'm going to be interested in the cross by the prosecution.
The cross is going to do what I would do.
Yeah.
They're going to
You
break.
know, and I watch these two prosecutors, and every time I do, I think of how you do it, and I'm like, you know, it's the exact same method you do.
Here's what I'm wondering. Because I didn't see this trial from the beginning. Has the parents, when they was up there in the beginning, did either one of them show any emotion to this?
Oh, that Jennifer was crying. The what was it? The first? No, I think it was his first or second day when they were showing a video like she was crying, but it wasn't crying because of the victims. I think she was crying more of we got caught. And her defense attorney was apparently crying too, even though she wanted to make out like she wasn't, and she, got
I
kind of
can't
confrontational about it.
buy your child a handgun when you know they're going through being depressed and all this. I just can't fathom the idea.
I don't. Yeah,
Brandon, it would be like a real pilot just give us their airplane and say go fly.
exactly.
And I mean like by herself with no assistance, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I I justice needs to be prevailed here. That boy needs to definitely pay the price for what he did, and at the same time, there's a bit of remorse that you feel because when someone really is mental, you gotta consider that, and you
Yeah.
got and you got to separate it. You can't put them two side by side when you're looking
Mm-mm.
at the murder that happened. You got to look at them, and then you gotta tear that apart and puzzle it back together to get the best understanding of the mental condition, and then you bring in the crime and you do what's necessary.
I think given the prosecution and the way they're going, I think that justice will be served. despite Shannon Smith and her antics.
No, that prosecutor's too good. There's no way that it won't. There's no way she's getting off of this.
I if it were me in that prosecution situation and I see the stuff the judge is doing with Shannon Smith and letting her get away with,
Mm-hmm.
I'm surprised they haven't addressed any of that. I mean, what would you do? I'm sure you would call that out at some point, wouldn't you?
You mean what would I do with?
Yeah, if you were prosecuting this case and you were in that courtroom with that same group of people, with that judge, Shannon Smith, that lady prosecuting her, and you saw Shannon Smith,
Well,
doing all these
first
antics
thing
and the
I'm
judge not doing anything about it, what would you do?
the first thing I'd tell Shannon to either get her act together or get out of my courtroom.
That's what I'm saying. I don't know why the judges.
Now, when it comes to Jennifer, and I don't know if they went through questions like this, but I would hope that they did. My first goal with having her on the stand, some of the questions would go along the lines: how long have you been a parent? Is this your first kid? Did you have any incidents with your children when they were younger? Did you have any
Mm-hmm.
CSP, children's services conditions? Was there ever any children's services called on you? Did your children ever do any kind of drugs? Did you do drugs? Did you drink? Did you ever fight with your husband? Did you guys beat on each other? Did you guys, yell at your kids? Like, you need to run down the whole line of
Yeah.
things that happen when you're a parent, and you need to paint that picture so the jury can see what kind of parent this really is.
But I mean, as far as Shannon Smith's antics and this judge not addressing them, like, what would you do as far as the judge goes?
As far as what?
Like, would you address the issue to her in chambers or?
Oh, it'd be in chambers. I'd see her in chambers, and then when uh, we went back out, it would be either a new attitude and a new, way of acting, or, well, it wouldn't last. I can tell you that. I don't know, dude. I
I just feel like every day in this trial, with every time Shannon Smith says something, it's going to be this long, endless grind of, oh, I got to say this and get my point across. And I'm just like, oh, how long are you going to go on?
and I do want to say that my hearts go out to the family members of the victims.
Yeah.
Why in the world did he have to take it out on people at a school that done nothing to him? And why did he shoot four people at school? What was the motive behind that?
Mm-hmm. I hope they get started on time tomorrow. They didn't get started till really late this morning.
Well, time will tell, my friend. So here's my question to any of those out there that might watch this later. Give us your thoughts on this case. Number one, what do you think should happen with Jennifer Crumbly Bumbly, and James Crumbly Bumbly? What should happen to them two? And do you think they're going to be in prison for the rest of their life? Or will they get out on parole for being good little boys and girls?
I'll go out on a limb myself. I'll just say they're gonna be in prison for life, and no, they're not gonna get out on parole.
That's what I'm thinking. Now let me ask you something else. How about for the boy?
It's actually been confirmed he has no chance of parole. He's in for life.
Well, I'm not saying I doubt that, but I've heard it before,
Mm-hmm.
and I've seen stupid stuff happen.
Yeah.
Needs to be in a mental facility. That's where he needs to be.
Yep.
I'm not saying, mental facility and then he gets out and goes home. I'm saying mental facility, at least until he's 18. And if he's okay at that point, off to prison you go, my friend.
Mm-hmm.
Guess you should have weighed the odds before you decided taking your frustration out on innocent people.
Yep.
So I don't know, man. I don't know, Brandon. I don't know, brother. What I do know is this is another one of them cases that makes you very. It just it's frustrating because
It is.
you get so tired of seeing these cases of these innocent people
Yeah.
being slaughtered because of an illegitimate family.
Yep.
And I
And that's another thing from what I'm hearing from the streams I watch.
you're in love with.
Both
Let me guess.
no,
You're in love with the defense, aren't you?
but no, what I'm about to say is
Oh,
apparently both of the parents and Ethan or the shooter himself and their defense attorney, Shannon Smith, that from what I've been hearing, they look very greasy and look like they haven't showered.
I'll tell you what you do, Brand. When this trial's over, write a letter to Jennifer Crumbley and ask her if she showers.
No thanks.
She might write you back and want to be your pen pal.
I don't think so.
Oh, I'll tell you, folks. It's always, 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 always just some ridiculous stuff on these cases. I'm going to go through a little bit of Q&A while we're already on here. It's just kind of a uh, three of a kind type of live stream. So we're going to cover some other stuff here. Because you know me, Brandon, when someone emails, I'm going to respond
Yeah.
and I'm going to answer questions. You know that.
Yeah.
So, got an email. Someone was asking me about something, and I respect people's privacy. Always have. Um, before I get into the question I was asked, let me get into the email that reflected that, and this is probably an email from a troll because they claim, trolls claim, uh, that when you're on YouTube, it doesn't make sense to talk about respecting privacy. It's a live stream. Well, that's exactly why you respect someone's privacy. If you're doing a type of live streams that we do here in the lounge, channel you're watching right now, the live stream you're watching right now, we talk about real life situations. And when someone throws a condition at me and wants an opinion, I'm not going to put their business out there and say, well, this person wrote me because they're going through this. They just went through this and did that. And here's my opinion. I don't do it that way. I always give an opinion so that no matter who's watching, if they're going through something similar, they can pick up on it, right? They can use
Yep.
the advice to try to get their life, try to do better. So you're going to like the next thing I'm going to jump into, Brandon, because it's really good. This you will get into 100%. All right. So before I get into that one, back to the one I was going to tell you about. All right. Miss Anonymous says, how do you get out of a situation when you feel like you're trapped? If you have no job and no money, but yet you're living in a situation where you just want out, what do you do? And I respect that question. I do. Because listen, I was married and for a while in my life, I went through a similar situation where it was either stay or go. The thing you got to do, number one, you got to look at what. Number one, is there anyone else connected to your situation? Meaning, if you got to leave, is there anything holding you back from leaving? See, when I left, it was at a time when I was able to finally do that because my kids were old enough. They were all teenagers and they all understood the situation, and leaving was much easier. If you are in a relationship and you're trying to get out of it because you're being abused, this is what I'm going to tell you. If you're being physically and mentally abused, and you talked about guilt in this email, this is what I'm going to tell you. It's only going to get worse. Those that abuse you, they will apologize, and it's only permanent or it's only temporary. They will apologize to make you think that it's over with and that it never happen again. And now what you're going through from a psychological perspective, what you're going through now, and I don't have the word right in front of me, but this is actually a condition that ends up happening where you feel guilty and you start to feel sorry for the one abusing you. There is an actual term for it, and I can't think of it at the moment. I'll find it and I'll bring it back up again on another stream. Listen, you are the victim. You're the victim of abuse, of assault, of mental abuse is just as bad as physical, and you're getting both. You're being mentally abused and you're being physically abused, and you got to get out because if you don't and you just stay, you will crumble. You will. Or worse, you'll end up badly hurt, or even worse. What could be worse than that, Brandon?
Dead.
You'll end up dead. So ask yourself, when you go to leave, what's better? You saving your life and putting your future back together, or putting yourself back together so you can have a good future? Or do you stay and continue to go through the repetitive abuse? There are services out there almost anywhere in the United States or even in the world. There's always services where you can get assistance. If you're afraid to leave, there's people out there that will help you with that. But it's time to go, girlfriend. It's time for you to pack up and roll out. And if you got to do it when that person's not there, that's the safest way. Do it when they're at work. Do it when a friend of yours comes over. Or better yet, get the law involved. Bring them over and then do it. But you got to stand up and you just got to do it. Sometimes my answers are very blunt and they're very bold, but at the same time, they're very bright. They make sense. Brandon has heard me talk to groups many, 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 many a times.
Mm-hmm.
And these people that I've helped, they don't have problems no more. Why? Because I give them very logical and obvious results. You got to take care of yourself. You said you have no kids. Well, there's a good reason why it's going to make it a lot easier when it's time to go. So I hope that advice helped you. We're going to jump to the next topic real quick. I'm going to read something to you. Where is it? It says, "Hey guys, how's everybody doing? I really enjoy seeing that the lounge is back in action. I'm pretty sure I've heard that voice somewhere on here in the past, a long time ago. I think his name's Blandon. It's Brandon, by the way, not Blandon. I think I've heard Brandon before. Yeah, you probably have.
Probably have.
I used to get a kick out of listening to him complain about the airplane and about the programs doing stupid stuff. He would get so mad, lol.
Yes, I would.
Anyways, I watch you guys over on BVI. Well, Brandon, I can't wait to see you back with John flying. It's going to be fun seeing you guys do streams together like you used to, seeing you guys flying together like you used to. I really enjoy watching you guys fly, and I enjoy the topics that you guys even talk about when flying. You guys should do some long flights together and work for the same airline. Well, we're going to because he's going to
We're
work.
actually going to do that.
Yeah, we're actually going to start a secondary airline on FS Airlines. That this would be just for anybody, obviously, and also Aviative. So be fun stuff. Um, let me get back where I was. Here it is. Anyways, wish you all luck with flying. Can't wait. See you again, Brandon. Hang in there. I know anxiety can be a bitch when you're waiting for something, but I feel that your luck's going to change here soon. All right. On the
You're
next line,
not wrong about that.
I got a friend that is in college, and I've never seen a college treat somebody so awful in my life, you guys. This goes beyond the reality of anything that's known about the accommodations that are needed for someone. I'm talking about a college that has even insulted, criticized, and humiliated my friend right there in class in front of 30 other students, challenging the student, asking questions that should not be asked in front of people, the accommodations, not knowing what the hell they're doing. Do you know that my friend had a midterm last year, and the midterm, where'd it go? The midterm was set up. I know that sounds like I'm making it up, but I'm not. They knew the areas where my friend was going to struggle the most, and they applied it onto the midterm. Tried, tried causing my friend to fail that midterm, and it almost happened.
Wow.
My friend was in tears before she left class. On the way out of the classroom, the instructor was laughing, asking anybody else got problems with accommodations or can't take time to study like they should. Anybody else have problems being responsible? You are an adult. You do know that, don't you? It's not like we're in kindergarten. Just kidding, class. I know the rest of you got your stuff together. Maybe someone will eventually because we won't put up with it here. I'm just stopping for a second. I got to read a little bit more here. Just give me a minute because, oh, whew, boy.
Wow.
My friend's been in college for just a little over 8 months and feels like it'd be better to just drop out because the college has her feeling like there's no success waiting for her at the end of the track. I know you guys can't do anything on a personal level. Well, John, maybe you can. I attached some other information to the email. Please don't give that out. My friend needs some serious help. No one's no one's in their corner whatsoever. And the sad thing is there's another student that just started college and I feel like they're going to go through the same thing because these are the only two people at this college that are needing a special accommodations and some extra attention to get them through some of the areas that they're going to struggle in. But on the public side of things, what's your opinion? Brandon, what do you think about this? Johnny, what would you do? I told my friend that they should not quit college, that they should put their foot down, that just because people tell them or make them feel like they're going to fail doesn't mean they will. College can be tough, and that can be tough on anybody, but you keep moving forward, and it always works out. Well, Brandon, I'm going to let you tackle this first. How does
I
that make,
agree. I
how
agree.
make you feel? First of all, before you give what you would do, what does this say to you?
It makes me angry that a college would actually do this in this day and age, knowing full well that people that have special accommodations can and do go to college and succeed, and they can succeed. Um,
Okay, I see a problem. I was reading some of the notes here.
okay.
I see a serious problem.
What?
I'm going to read this because this ain't giving out no personal information.
Okay.
I recommended to my friend to do college the way that they are because I felt like it'd be easier being just online. It's all online, and it shouldn't matter that they are an unaccredited college. Okay, so I'm going to stop right there. If they are unaccredited, this college does not have to follow the accommodations law.
Yeah.
This is what I would do. You said your friend paying out of pocket. I've I think it's a waste of time. I think you need to tell your friend to go to a college that is by the state and by the government. That way, one, they'll get FAFSA, financial aid. There's no way if this happened in a regular college, there's no way that that would be tolerated in no way whatsoever.
Oh, it would definitely not be tolerated in any way, shape, or form.
Now, there's still something that you can do. So, Brandon, go ahead with what you think about all of it, and then I'll give my other part of the opinion here.
So I definitely agree with if this is definitely an unaccredited college. I definitely do think they don't know about accommodations, and I definitely wouldn't go to one of those. In my opinion, I would definitely go to a state-run, government-run college and definitely apply for FAFSA.
Yeah. Here's the thing. With this not being accredited, whoever is running this online college, I believe that they still need to be dealt with.
Absolutely.
It's still it's still discrimination, it's harassment,
It's
and it's
bullying.
bullying, and it's right down wrong. And I can't believe. Now I'm not insulting anybody here, but Brandon knows how I am. I speak. I speak how I see it. Why would you pay for a college unaccredited? Apparently, this person has already spent almost $2,000.
Wow.
Why would you do that?
I would not do that. And anyway, those degrees, when you get them from those colleges, I have a friend who went to one of those for a teaching degree. And you know the person I'm talking about because you helped them. Um, they got one of those type of degrees and they can't really do anything with it because it's not an accredited college degree. It's
Who are,
useless.
who are we talking about?
The one that had the dogs, Amber.
Oh,
Yeah, she did one of those colleges.
yeah, and this college, the name don't even ring a bell. Fernstone.
I've never heard of it. That yeah,
Go to a real college.
that's definitely not a real college.
Got your real diploma. Go to a real college. But just because they're unaccredited, don't mean nothing can be done. They can also be shut down,
Absolutely.
and I'm going to help with that. Nobody deserves to be treated that way. I've been through things in my previous college where I had to stand up, but
Oh well, I remember.
I got through it and it got dealt with, and I came out at the top. Accommodations, and this is why I like this conversation, Brandon. Accommodations is something that's there's so many people out there that just don't understand it.
No, they don't.
I think that instructors should at least when you get a job at a college, if you see that you're getting ready to get a student with special accommodations, you as an instructor should be required to watch a 2 hour refresh course that gives you all the information that you really need as an instructor, something you can fall back on. I believe that it should be required that a teacher has to watch these videos and stay up to date on the laws with those accommodations.
Oh, I'm in full agreement with that. I think it should be implemented at every single college and university in this country. No questions asked.
If they can put policies on the students, why can there not be policies on the instructors?
I agree. And there should be that should be a policy.
I'm actually trying to make it happen for a few colleges in Indiana, and I
I
ain't saying,
think it
and I'm not saying that in a negative way about anybody, but it needs to be a policy.
I think it needs to be a nationwide policy at every single college and university.
Yeah, I've got a thing actually I'm going to be putting together, Brendan. I'll send it to you, and then I'm going to share it on the live stream. And all I need is signatures from it for those that agree, so I can do the next step with it.
Okay.
And actually, Brandon's not. I've not updated Brandon on this because I this is kind of something that I just started here recently. Um, but me and Brandon are actually going to make it happen because he's going to help me out with this. Brandon's like, what? And I just mean by putting together some stuff, Brandon, that we need to write down and
Okay.
with that. But every month at the lounge, we're going to start doing one month raising awareness for accommodations. It needs to be out there. I think because I see so many things happening to students at colleges when they don't know what to do. Brendan, tell me, when you went to college, did you run into problems with accommodations ever?
Oh yeah, I did. Not here, not at this college, luckily, but yes, other places I have.
And I know there's gonna be some that might be visually impaired and say, "Well, I never had problems. Just do it. Do what you're supposed to." Blah 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 blah. Let me give you a good example of something that I went through, and I'm not gonna say names because I respect everything that I've been through. But at one of my colleges, there's an area where you go, and it's through the college, but it's an external website. And on that website, you have your assignments, and you got to read. Well, there's a button that says audio, and you hit the button, it'll start reading. I ran into a situation where I was being graded for reading the chapters, but when I would read them, this site would always time out because it didn't think I was doing anything, even though I was. But the only thing I was doing was listening to the audio, reading the book, reading the chapters. I had to, you know, do a couple things to get that dealt with
Hmm.
because sometimes there's things in that we have no control over. So, folks, if you receive accommodations or you need accommodations, please don't be scared to stand up for that. You don't got to speak it out loud. You don't got to say the instructor in front of other students. This can be a conversation with your advisor, or
Or
if
if you have something with an actually, I take that back. There was one thing that I did have, and this wasn't of the level of it. I had to go to the accommodations department. It was just between me and my instructor.
oh, you talking about when he wouldn't let you wear your skirt to school?
No, no, actually, there was an assignment I had to do
Yeah.
with one of my broadcast classes. We had to do this sales thing, and we had to, figure out cumulative audiences and things like that. And I spent about 2 weeks trying to figure it out and how to do it. I could not get it, could not understand it. So one day after class, I just approached my instructor and I said, "Look, I've been trying my best with this assignment and I'm not able to do this. Is there an alternative I can do to
Right.
make up for this assignment?"
Right. Right.
And luckily, he was a very good instructor and he actually worked with me a lot because,
Brandon, what I've learned, and I think you will agree with this, because of me and you, because you have to do the same thing,
mhm,
folks, communication goes a long.
communication is very key.
Being respectful and communicating and really making sure that every situation you're dealing with, you got to communicate. Do you know every semester, and if Amanda was in here, she'd tell you too. We're on me and Brandon on the live stream, so we're talking about accommodations, like I get at school. Um, every semester, guys, and Amanda can tell you this because I did it this semester. I have a meeting with the instructors, and this is not required. This is an extra step that I take so that I can explain to the where my where my where my strengths are and where my challenges are.
Yep, I did the same thing.
I got thrown away. It's empty. Um, because no, they don't got it. They don't got to go by some of the things you might uh, say you need help with. But guys, in most cases, the instructor will work with you.
And honestly, I think it makes them feel more comfortable if you approach them. If you can, I tried to do it before semester started, or if it couldn't do that, then I would go in after the first day of class and meet with them
Mm-hmm.
and talk to them. And it really helped out a lot. It made the instructor feel more comfortable working with me, and we got to know
Well,
how we communicate and everything else.
To work with you.
Hmm?
It means a lot of comforting to work with him.
well, I can tell you guys too. Amanda is going to a new college now. She don't get special accommodations, but
We need it.
but one of the things that she's done from the start is communicating with everybody that she deals with. Communicate, communicate, communicate. Because
Yep.
I had to get up in the middle of the night for a snack.
did you?
Mm-hmm.
I know I have to do that sometimes.
Oh, I just woke up and I see my face.
You didn't turn the camera on her. She's like, no.
And I
Guys,
gotta pee.
along with that, just because there's a, you don't know what you know what I'm talking about, but second thing I was going to discuss. I mean, I'm not going to make it a long conversation, but you are never too old to go to college.
Nope.
Now,
I mean, you're in that bed, oxygen and ventilator. You're just too old.
maybe you might college, but someone emailed the lounge and they were going to sign up for college, and they're still considering it. But the reason they're wanting to back out is because someone was laughing at them because they're 54 years old and want to go to college. Who cares?
So what? Go ahead. My dad's brother who lives in Arkansas, he's in his 60s, I think. He
Why?
just stopped going to college for degrees.
I'm even going to. I'm going to say this for Amanda too, because I bet she'll agree. The reason that I didn't go to college when I was younger was because I had kids, and I bet you that's probably Amanda's reason. It's hard to go to college when you got 2 or 3 kids.
It absolutely is.
I knew that I wasn't going to go to college when I was younger. Did you, or is college for you a different reason? Like, did you want to go before, or no?
I did. I didn't know there was fun.
Oh, to assist you.
Mm-hmm.
But do you think would you have went if your kids were still?
I applied in college.
You did.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the point is though,
But I couldn't afford it.
you don't gotta be young to go to college.
No, you don't have to. I've heard of 90-year-olds being in college.
Brent, yeah.
I went through a nursing home that put you in school.
Oh yeah, you didn't you? You told me about that. There was a 92-year-old woman. I'm not kidding, guys. You can look it up. 91 or 92, and she graduated college with her PhD.
Yep.
I'm dead serious. So don't let nothing hold you back. Send up your accommodations and go to college if you want to go to college. I don't know what day we're going to do it. one day this week. We're going to do a video starting the raising awareness on accommodation. I got to talk with Brandon, figure out what would be the best day, and what day and what day of the month that we're going to do it. And we'll let you guys know. But Brandon, what else do you want to add to this before we go? On any of this stuff tonight, anything you want to add?
I definitely can't think of anything, but like you said, you're never too old to go to college. Like I said, I have a family member, my dad's brother, who lives in Arkansas, and he just recently stopped going to college, and he has several degrees because he just wanted to learn stuff, and he's in his 60s.
Man, I can also tell you this. I'd been saying over and over, once I'm done, I'm done. And about 2 weeks ago, I looked at Amanda and I said, you know what? If the opportunity arises, I might go back to college for my master's. Once you get motivated into college, you just want to keep learning.
Mm-hmm.
But that's not something that's on my calendar as a goal. It's just kind of on the side as a sub goal.
Right.
I graduate in May, and it's been a long road. And I can tell anybody out there that might think you can't do it because you're visually impaired, or you can't do it because accommodations is it's too much to deal with, or you can't do it because you're too old. If I can do it, you can do it. Simple as that. So go to college. Extend your education. Get a degree.
And smoke a cigarette.
And smoke a cigarette. Just like her, just like me. All right. Guys, we're going to get out here. I appreciate everybody watching. If you're watching this at a later time, you should have been here when we was live and have a conversation with us.
Now we have two.
Oh, do we? I guess so.
No. I think we've had some trolls throughout the night because I've been noticing the numbers were going from 1 to 0.
Yeah, probably so. Well, they can come in and troll away. Troll.
Well, they didn't send any messages. I just kept seeing them pop in and out.
To the stream. Merrily. Life is but a dream. All right, we got to go. Good talking to you. If you got any, questions, comments, anything like that, please leave your comments down below. And we'll be back soon. Brandon, thanks for joining us. Appreciate having you.
Glad to be here.
And guys, have a good night.
You too.
Y'all take care.